This story is based on reports sent in by our subscribers and edited by me. The names have been changed to protect anonymity. If you would also like your story to be told here, send me an email. I love receiving your experiences and bringing new stories to the channel. Now, let's get started. Ever since I was little, Sophia and I have been inseparable. We shared dolls, imaginary recipes, and silly secrets whispered under the covers. Our bond was formed very early, as strong as the roots of an ancient tree. We played in the garden, ate ice cream at the doorstep, and studied together. I, Alice, was blonde, gentle, with a shy smile and curious eyes. As for Sophia, Sophia had hair as black as night and a gaze that, even as a child, already seemed to hide mysteries. As time went by, the dolls gave way to the mirror. Sophia blossomed first. Her body changed quickly, gaining curves that drew attention. He wore bold clothes, spoke to popular kids, and seemed to have the world at his feet. I, on the other hand, hid myself in books, in the nerd groups at school. She was safer among formulas and science fiction than at parties and backyard gatherings. It was during this time that I met my first boyfriend. He was kind, and his smile made me blush. It was all new, sweet, a light, almost childish performance. But it didn't last long. Sophia showed up smiling, saying she missed me. Naively, I believed her. One day, as I was walking down the hallways, I suddenly stopped in my tracks. There she was, my best friend, my whole childhood kissing my boyfriend with the same intensity she reserved for her eyes. My feet froze. My heart, no. I suffered. I cried in the school bathroom, my head between my knees, trying to understand why. When I confronted her, she just smiled and said he had seduced her and that she was sorry. But her eyes said something else, something between contempt and the pleasure of seeing me break. At that moment I realized that Sophia was no longer my friend, and maybe she never had been. Hello everyone. How are you doing? Before we continue, I really wanted to meet the person on the other side, who is listening to me so attentively. Comment below with your name and where you're watching from. Seriously, it would be a great pleasure to take up the challenge between us and create this connection. The stories are just beginning, and what comes next will stir your emotions, your curiosity, and who knows, maybe even other things as well, if you know what I mean. So comment, like, share, and subscribe, because this channel is made for those of you who love hot, real, and moving stories. Will you continue? After that, I swore to myself that I would never let Sophia cross my path again. I withdrew into myself. I buried my feelings and put on an armor of silence. It took me months to heal that wound, and when I finally felt like I could smile again, a new boy appeared. It was simple, different from the previous one. Kind, caring, he would make silly jokes just to see my shy laughter slip out. We started to connect. It was light, unhurried, and for a brief moment, I thought the past was behind me. But Sophia never lets anything slip through her fingers. When he found out about my new relationship, he reappeared as if he wanted nothing, with that fake air of desire. He pretended to be interested, asked how I was doing, and once again, I fell into the trap of his presence. This time, it wasn't a hidden kiss, it was in plain sight. She took him back in front of the cafeteria, where everyone could see, including me. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just turned my back. The pain was sharp, raw, but strangely familiar, as if it knew exactly where and how to cut. I didn't confront him. He didn't either. What would be the point? Sophia already knew I wouldn't react. That's what fed her. My silence, my broken heart became her trophy. Not long after, I made the decision that would change everything. I accepted my aunt's invitation to spend some time with her in Switzerland. I needed to breathe different air, to live a different reality. Staying there was like endlessly bleeding. I set off, leaving behind everything I was. In my suitcase, I only carried the promise that one day I would return. And when that happened, she would no longer be the same Alice. Coming back to my parents' house was like opening an old book, but with a new protagonist. I was no longer the same Alice uncertain, boring, invisible. Now, my hair fell in thick waves, golden like the Swiss sun. My skin glowed like warmed porcelain, and my body, well, let's just say it now drew attention everywhere I went, if you know what I mean. The clothes he wore spoke volumes. Every revealed curve was like a comma in a bold sentence. Even my eyes, once hidden behind thick lenses, now shone with freedom and mystery. When Sophia saw me for the first time after so long, she froze. Literally. Her gaze swept over every detail of me, as if she were trying to decipher a riddle whose answer had already expired. A smile. But not just any smile, it was one that tasted of revenge. "There will be a party at my place today," she said while fixing her hair, with a hint of awkwardness. "Are you coming? I'd love to see everyone again at your party," I replied, with an unreadable spark in my eyes. I arrived that night, wearing a dress that seemed made to fit me like a second skin. The blouse, thin enough to stir everyone's imagination. I could feel eyes burning into my skin, especially those of a certain man sitting near the bar, Mr. Jason, Sophia's father. "Hello, Mr. Jason. Do you remember me?" I said in a soft, lingering voice, almost like honey. "It's so good to see you again." His eyes widened, and he swallowed with difficulty. He didn't seem to know whether he should respond politely or run away from me like the devil fleeing temptation. Later, I went over to Sophia. "You know what would be fun? I'll sleep over here tonight. Just like old times, popcorn, movies, junk food." She agreed. We looked like two teenagers again, laughing on the living room floor and sharing old secrets. For a moment, I almost believed that everything was fine. But you can't erase the past with a bucket of popcorn. She fell asleep suddenly. I went to the kitchen to get some water. And then, there he was, Mr. Jason, sitting in the armchair with a bottle of beer in one hand and the TV remote in the other. The light from the device cast shadows on the walls, an almost cinematic scene. "Everything all right here, Mr. Jason?" I asked, leaning against the door frame in my very short, strapless dress. The light from the television traced dangerous shapes on the fabric. He turned around slowly, looking dazed. His eyes dropped down and stayed there. "Yes, everything's fine," he said with a strained smile. "You look tired. I can give you a massage if you want. My fingers are magical, if you know what I mean." He nodded hesitantly. I approached him from behind and gently touched his shoulders. Every move I made was calculated, like an old rehearsal finally taking place on stage. I could feel the tension in his body, and maybe a bit of guilt too. "I've always found you interesting, Mr. Jason, even when you didn't notice me. But now, well, now I'm not a little girl anymore." He turned his face slightly, confused, and said, "You're a temptation, my dear, and I wouldn't be able to resist." At that moment, I positioned myself in front of him. I knelt down between his legs and, gently, I opened his pants, revealing what was inside. I held him firmly in my hands and felt his pulse between my fingers. With a look full of pleasure, he didn't need to ask me for anything. I kissed him there, right where you imagine. It was humid, it was hot. Every movement was intentional, going up and down. I took him to the clouds, and when he exploded with pleasure, my mouth filled up. He was there, covered in satisfaction. That's when I heard footsteps behind me. I turned my face slightly, and she was there. Sophia. I stopped at the kitchen door, my eyes wide open as if they had just witnessed an emotional earthquake. I gave a calm smile, my mouth still dripping with his pleasure, slow kind of thing only those who are in control of the situation can offer. A smile that said, "Now, there are two of us, Sophia, but only one will win this game." And I went back to kissing Mr. Jason's instrument, as if I were neither in a hurry nor feeling guilty. Sophia turned around and went upstairs. The sound of her heel on the marble staircase was almost like a warning siren. I followed her silently, like a warm breeze before a fire. I opened the bedroom door slowly, without knocking. She had her back turned, taking off her earrings, but she quickly turned around and said, "How could you?" She shouted, "Right in front of me, with my father. You've lost your mind, Alice." I sighed deeply. The moment had come. The mask had fallen. "I'm sorry, Sophia. I truly am. But this is so you can feel a bit of what I felt when you were with my boyfriend. Do you remember? You're getting a taste of your own medicine, if you know what I mean." She bit her lip, her gaze filled with anger and shame. He remained silent for a moment, then spat out, "Get out of my house." And I spoke. "As you wish," I murmured with a sly smile. It wasn't a happy smile. It was a smile of a mission accomplished. The next morning, the unexpected. "What are you doing here?" Sophia appeared in the hallway like a storm, seeing me sitting on the couch with a coffee in my hands and my legs crossed provocatively. Before I could answer, Jason appeared, his shirt still unbuttoned, and spoke. "I invited her, my dear. You two are very good friends. I thought it would be good if you could work things out. Or, if only he knew." Sophia frowned, turned around, and went upstairs without saying another word. A few minutes later, she heard the shower running, then muffled whispers, laughter, moans. Sounds that echo through the walls like a dirty secret. The kind of sounds you can't pretend you didn't hear, if you know what I mean. At that moment, I left the room with the towel wrapped around my body, my hair still dripping, and my eyes burning. And Sophia speaks. "Alice, I need to talk to you." I slowly looked up, like a cat in heat about to pounce. Then Sophia continues. "I want to apologize," she said, her voice breaking. "Forgive me for all the harm I've caused you. Honestly, ever since you came back, my life has become a nightmare. I feel like everything is slipping through my fingers." I moved closer. There was something about her that, for the first time, seemed real. So I said, "It's okay. My friend," he smiled gently. "Let's forget everything that happened." At that moment, Sophia spoke with tears in her eyes. "Please, don't turn my life into a whirlwind. I can't take it anymore," and I spoke. "I promise that this conflict ends here. And it's over. At least for now." The months went by. I'm back to my routine. University started again, the work shifts came, and with them, Thomas, a sweet and funny guy, tall as an eucalyptus branch. One day, he invited me to the movies. We went to the mall, laughing like two teenagers with the bucket of popcorn, me with the soda. The line was moving slowly, but our eyes wandered freely. That's when I saw her, Sophia. She came up to me and said, "Hi, my friend." What a coincidence. I felt my stomach turn cold. And he said, "Hi." "So, Sophia, speak. It's nice that we ran into each other. Let's watch together." "Who is he?" And I spoke in a strangled voice. "That's Thomas, my boyfriend." "Honey, this is my friend Sophia." Sophia smiled. But it wasn't just any smile. It was one of those smiles that hides venom beneath the lipstick. "Nice to meet you. My name is Sophia," she said, extending her hand with the air of a feline about to pounce. At that moment, a cold shiver ran down my spine. The past whispered in my ear, murmuring of old dangers. But something in me had changed. I was no longer the girl who let herself go. I wouldn't throw myself into that fight again just to lose, if you know what I mean. Smile. A different smile. A smile from someone who knows that this time the final move is merciless. Now, tell me, do you think what I did was right? Was my revenge too harsh? Or did she deserve to feel everything she put me through? I would really like to know your opinion. Leave your comment below. I read everything very carefully, and it's through your comments that I understand how these stories impact each person. Oh, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, subscribe now. It's very important so that I can keep bringing you new stories inspired by real-life accounts filled with emotion, intensity, and that spicy touch. If you know what I mean. And I'll see you in the next video with another story that will blow your mind and maybe some other parts too.